Yeah, you look at what happened before you picked up a drug.
Yep.
You had friends and you did activity, and then all of a sudden they shrinked.
Yes.
It's
Yep.
in a way your life shrinks.
Yes.
You know, yeah.
Yep.
You don't engage as much with things.
Yeah.
You know, you sort of.
Well, you're so in self, aren't you?
Yeah, that's right. And you're trapped.
Yeah.
You get trapped in your own sort of, learned safety mechanism, which is, work, supermarket, home. And I think, like I said, I just surrender. You just reach a point where, well, what do I do now? So I'll give in.
Yeah. Stop fighting it.
Yeah. Don't try and come back to me. Just stop and drop into your truth of yourself again. Then you just off you go, and it's like, oh, this is no big deal.
Hi, this is James. Welcome to Slaying Sober, where we tell stories of addiction, recovery, and hope. Wherever you are in your sober journey, know that you do not stand alone. Welcome to Slaying Sober. Today's episode is a journey through heartbreak and hope. Our guest today is Andrew, and he is 40 years sober. Yes, 40 years. Andrew's trauma began at birth. He was taken from his mother through forced adoption by the Catholic Church and endured abuse that shattered his trust in authority. His first experience of drinking is a wild one. His promising professional golfing career was cut short as addiction led him into years of darkness, crime, and incarceration. But his journey didn't end in despair. In rehab, he found healing, not just for himself, but for others, and he committed his life to helping prisoners find hope and recovery, with tremendous success. Recently, Andrew has dusted off the golf clubs and rekindled his childhood passion for golf, and he is about to turn pro 45 years after his first dream. This episode will inspire anyone who's ever given up hope and to show that long-term recovery and new beginnings are always possible. Please enjoy this wide-ranging and very entertaining conversation with Andrew. Okay, Andrew, welcome to Slaying Sober. Thanks a heap for coming in. I'm really grateful.
Thanks, James. It's good. It's great to be here.
It's lovely to see you again. It has been a little while.
It has been a while.
I was just doing some homework here. You have 40 years of sobriety up.
Yeah, August 20 was my 40th anniversary. So.
Congratulations. Yeah. That is amazing. Almost as old as me.
Oh, are you over 40?
Just. That's incredible.
It's amazing how many people I come across just in life that are 38, 39, 35, and I just think, wow, I haven't had a drink since you've been on the planet. Haven't had any other drugs since you've been on the planet.
So how old were you when you got sober?
I was 22.
Yeah.
So I was young.
Yeah.
And I went to rehab. When I went into rehab, I was 20 the first time.
Yes.
And everyone in there was 35 plus.
Yeah.
So it was a real, and they'd all had, they'd been in jail, they'd been on methadone, they'd been in the streets. They were, it was a pretty wild, like this is 1984.
Yeah.
It was just a different time. Like there was pretty much alcohol and heroin and barbiturates really. They were the drugs. So everyone that, went into rehab, everyone were mostly heroin addicts.
Yes.
Long-term heroin addicts. And so I had I'd used heroin and I'd had habits, but I didn't have the life that a lot of these people had, like King's Cross and those sort of places. And
I often find, at my age now, I'll see these people in their 20s coming in, and it makes me really emotional because I wish that I had have had the foresight to get to the rooms, when I was at that age. Yeah. It makes me a bit envious and a bit emotional, I think.
Yeah, it's a long time. Yeah, it's a long time ago. And then, I went down really quickly, and
yes,
because my drug use, I like a lot of people say, if I could use drugs again, I would, or if I could use drugs successfully, I would use them. And I hated using drugs. I when I had my first drug, which was alcohol, I enjoyed the experience. Like I loved the experience the drug gave me.
Yep.
But then it took things away really, really quickly from me. So I became unemployed really quickly. I became homeless really quickly. I, was sort of destitute really quickly, and I didn't like being cut off. So even though the initial experience invited me in, like I thought, here I am. Like I'm not on the outside looking in anymore. I can join in. I can participate. I can do all this stuff.
Yeah.
But once that novelty in a way wore off, and I started getting into like the harder drugs, or so-called harder drugs.
Yeah,
I think it's funny when you sort of you drink alcohol and then they say, oh yeah, but then you got into harder drugs. Alcohol's a hard drug. Like I see guys today that they're just ravaged by alcohol. They're 45, 50. They don't look well. Their bodies look, their bodies don't look well. They don't look good in the eyes.
Yeah, and there's somewhat like a social acceptance to alcohol. I mean, it's legal. Yeah, but it can the depths of when it's really problematic. Can be sort of easily hid as well. Like that. I've spoken to plenty of people that are there at the bottle shop at 8 o'clock in the morning because they need it to function.
Yeah, and those guys that they might drink 6 or 7 beers a day. That's and they've been doing that for 30 or 40 years. Yeah, but they've maintained a life. Or, but the thing is, they're paying for it now because they don't look well. They look unhealthy. Yeah. They're
unwell people.
Yeah.
Let's take a step back and tell us about young Andrew. Where did you grow up, and tell us about when you were young?
Wow, young youth. Well, I was adopted at birth. So, and my mother was young.
Yes.
And when they found out she was pregnant, they put her in a home.
Yep.
So she went into St Anthony's home at Croydon in Sydney. And she basically worked in the nunnery, or with the nuns, working for the nuns basically while she was pregnant.
Yes.
And then when she gave birth, she was forced to give me up. So she didn't have a choice. So and there was a lot of women at that time didn't have choices.
Yeah.
And I read an article the other day, and it actually said, I think it was like the perfect situation for these poor women is to give their child to a good Catholic home.
Yeah.
So that was their belief at the time.
Yep.
So, so she didn't. I thought she saw me, and I thought I spent time with her as a baby, but I didn't. There was even a physical barrier between when she was giving birth, so she didn't even see me visually. Didn't see me. So basically, I was born and just taken away.
I think there was an Australian TV show about that. I can't recall the name off the top of my head. So you were birthed and then straight into the Catholic Church, and then a home from there.
Yeah. So I was adopted. I think I was about 6 weeks old when I was adopted.
Yes.
So my parents they adopted 2 other children. So three of us were all adopted. I think pretty much the same circumstances.
Yep.
Yeah. So it was. And it's interesting. I always used to. I'd share at meetings, and I'd go. I was a good kid until I was 7.
Yes.
And and
what happened then?
Well, when we lived in Condobolin in country New South Wales, so a little country town. There was, we used to walk to school, walk back to school. When 5 and 6 year olds can walk to school, that's pretty cool. So and we used to run in and play in the bush all day long, and the rules were, be home at dark. That was the, when the street lights come on, you're home.
Get home.
That was the rules, and then we moved from there to Griffith in New South Wales, and I was a pretty smart kid. I could learn, I could read, I could write, I could spell, I could do all that stuff. And then when we got to Griffith, they said, well, you got to do second class again because of your age, because I was a year younger. I started school early, and I don't know, like that really impacted me. Because I thought, well, I've done this, and they'll trying to reteach me everything I'd already learned, and they were trying to reteach me in a way that I didn't understand. So I started to feel a bit useless and pointless, and then I started to feel a bit stupid, and I thought, well, this is not the best, So, and then I was physically assaulted by a monk there. Really violent assault. Yeah, like he trapped me in the room and he beat me.
Oh, God.
And I remember then it was like I remember my person. It's like I remember the moment my brain changed.
Yes,
it was like all of a sudden I thought, I don't feel safe I'm not safe in the world. And I couldn't tell anyone because I thought, my family were part of the Catholic Church. We used to go to mass every Sunday, and I thought, well, they're part of they're part of this situation too. So I'm thinking, this is just not my thing. And I even remember as a kid going to mass, going to a Catholic church, and I'd sit there in church, and I remember as a 6-7-year-old, and I used to think, I don't get this. This doesn't make sense to me.
Yes.
So I never really...
Yeah. It didn't quite fit in.
Didn't quite fit.
Yeah.
No. And I didn't understand. I didn't get it. I thought, what? This doesn't make any sense to me.
Yeah.
So, and even going to school and all the monks and the nuns, and I just... Because I'd go past the monks where the monks lived, and they're... the garbage bins were full of stubbies, empty stubby cans, and beer bottles, and they were mean. Like, they were mean people. And this one guy he was just mean.
Yeah.
And
what about your parents?
They were, Dad was a manager at a wholesaler.
Mm-hmm.
And then Mum worked in a library. She worked for a solicitor's office, then she worked in a library at one of the schools.
Yep.
So,
and how was your relationship with them?
It was probably good until then.
Yes.
And it was almost like, because I couldn't tell them and because they changed, I started just surviving the family. And I found out I was adopted as well around that same sort of time. So all of a sudden I just felt just unbelievably alone. And I thought, wow, this is, I'm just here and I can't go. Like, I'm 7. I thought, where do I go? I can't leave this situation. So I felt really trapped.
So your family, as you knew it,
and
then the safe place of the church were just changed overnight.
Yeah,
for
they were
you.
all changed. Yeah. So it's like I became a lodger in the home. Like, I wasn't part of a family. I thought, so I really felt cut off from that family experience, and I felt like I was just boarding.
Yep.
At this place.
So you misbehaved?
Yeah, a lot. Yeah, a lot.
How did that look?
Oh, generally fighting. I was fighting kids, running away, from school, stealing, smoking cigarettes. I started smoking at 7.
Did you?
Yeah, I say 7-year-olds now. They're like, little. And I think, here's me like doing the drawback and buying cigarettes because there was this Mrs. Johnson's shop. She was an old lady that owned the corner store.
Yes.
And we'd go in there and say, packet of Rothmans, please, Mrs. Johnson. And they're like 21 cents. So you just had to get together 2s and 1s and cent pieces, and we'd buy the smokes off Mrs. Johnson.
There you go.
Viscount and Rothmans 10s. I still remember the packets, and I still remember the smell of the fresh cigarette packet.
It's incredible, isn't it?
Yeah. So we were smoking. We used to go and we'd smoke. And then I remember, we got caught.
Yes.
And the punishment was you sit in front of the family and you smoke.
Yeah.
That was the...
Oh, right. Yeah.
Because you just smoke.
They'd make you smoke the whole packet and try and break you sort of
Try
thing.
to make you feel sick.
Yes.
Yeah. So
did it work?
No, I kept smoking.
There you go.
And even that didn't, like, a lot of those things, they just... I don't know whether part of my personality or just part of who I am, there's a lot of those, like structural things that I'm the goldfish in the tree climbing lesson. It's like it's a great thing to be able to climb trees, but don't try and teach a goldfish.
Yes.
And I always felt like I was that guy. So it just didn't make a lot of things just didn't make sense.
Yeah.
And I thought, but the other thing was I thought I'm stuck here. I'm stuck.
Yeah.
And I think that was the painful thing, and I think then I developed all those things to survive, like that survival.
Yes.
So how do you survive situations? Well, I don't talk. I don't tell anyone anything. I keep everything to myself. I'll act out in other ways to try to get sort of some release.
Yes.
And maybe, I don't know, maybe was I acting out so Mum would come, my birth mum, my biological mum, I don't know. So maybe, So
interesting.
Yeah.
So how did that develop into, you said you had your first drink at 15. How did that come about?
The one person in my life was my grandfather.
Yes.
Big guy, like cricket, worked at the Rural Bank in Sydney with Rick McCosker, who was the opening batsman for the Australian cricket team.
Yeah.
And I like cricket, my grandfather, we'd go to Sydney, they'd stick us on the plane, we'd fly to Sydney.
Yes.
He'd take me to the cricket, he'd take me to the footy, and it was like he was a good guy. He was just a good guy. And I remember he was the one person I felt that really saw who I was and that I thought was proud of me.
Yeah.
And I never felt like I was surviving around him. I always felt like I could just take a breath and relax around him.
So he wasn't your biological grandfather. He
was actually my mother's stepfather.
Okay.
Yeah. So he's sort of like
yes.
Yeah.
So no blood relative.
No blood relative, but not even the blood relative of my mother.
Yes.
So,
okay.
Yeah. So it was almost like we were just, here's these two guys that aren't part of this family that sort of we found a bit of a bond and we clicked.
Amazing.
Yeah. And ironically, the weekend of his funeral when he passed away was the first time we'd ever been allowed home to stay home on our own. So my older sister, she was 18 months older than me. My younger sister was 4 years younger than me. So they said, we're going to the funeral, you can stay home.
Yep.
So I was always curious about the Carlton Draft tins in the laundry.
Yes.
And this night I thought, I'll try one.
We're on here.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. So I cracked a can and, I drank it. I got drunk.
Yep.
Instantly, it felt like.
Yes.
And I just felt free.
Yeah.
I felt incredibly free. The freedom was, it's hard to describe. I often describe it like if you got a tiger in a cage for 15 years and you take him out into the jungle and you open the gate and you just let him go.
Yes.
That's what I felt like. I thought,
because you'd felt so trapped for so long.
Yeah.
And it was like that immediate sense of freedom.
Yeah. And all of a sudden I stopped being on the outside looking in. I stopped feeling different. I felt a part of the whole, everything just made sense. And I felt a part of the universe and the world. And and then we jumped in my mum's car, four of us, 4 kids.
Yes.
4 15-year-olds that I was at school with that come around.
Yep.
Jumped in my mum's car, pushed it out of the driveway, rolled it down the road, in the dark, in the quiet, so no one would hear us.
Yes.
Started up. I was drunk in the back seat and my mate was driving and we got out onto this dirt road just out past our place and I remember him saying, I've lost it.
Yeah.
And then next thing I know, we're just rolling end over end and, we just totally rode off the car and rolled it.
Wow.
And I remember the car was on its roof.
Yes.
And we all just crawled out. No one was hurt.
No one was hurt.
Not a scratch, not a broken bone, not a couple of bruises, but yeah.
That's incredible.
Yes, very incredible. And to see the car, you think, how did anyone survive this?
That's incredible.
Yeah.
And what were the consequences of that, Andrew?
Nothing really. So I think there was like relief that we're alive. That was number one.
Yep.
But I didn't experience. See, I was so shut off. I didn't experience love.
Yes.
So I was cut off from being loved.
Yep.
And they obviously loved me, and they were really happy that we weren't dead. That we hadn't killed ourselves. And the only consequences were the 4 families had to whack up $800 each to
pay for the car
because they couldn't ring the police and they didn't want to ring the police and get that involved. They just thought, well, let's just keep it between us, get the car fixed. And remember the 4 doors in this car, they never shut properly again, even after they're fixed. So every time I got in that car, every few hundred metres, they'd start to sort of rattle. They start to rattle a bit. So
a
I had to live with that
reminder.
experience every night. Yeah.
That's incredible.
Yeah. But the thing that was important to me about the whole incident was the drunk.
Yeah.
And I just loved the drunk. I loved the experience of being drunk.
Yes.
So I just, from then on, I pretty much every night. Like I'd sneak out of the house and I'd drink. And I'd drink until I, was paralytic.
Yeah, blackout drunk.
Yeah. So I'd wake up in the backyard at home. I'd wake up in the morning down the road. I'd wake up, and I'd always sort of manage to keep finding my way home.
Yes. Like a homing pigeon.
You know what? Yeah. And I loved it.
Yes.
I just loved it. And I spun out and I got sick. And I remember having little goals. I thought, well, I want to get used to the taste because I never liked the taste of alcohol.
Yeah.
I don't get that. People go, oh, we'll get this wine and that wine. I thought, wine's disgusting. I hate the taste of wine.
Yes.
And then most of the beers taste awful as well. So I don't. Anyway, so whiskey's like, spirits are just disgusting.
But you'd get your hands on anything
wouldn't matter.
Because you'd want to feel
wouldn't matter
what you felt that first
100% drank for effect. Never ever drank for taste, never drank to be sociable, never drank to be part of a group. I drank to get drunk all the time, only.
And how did you get your hands on booze at that age?
There was always someone.
Yeah.
There was always an older brother. My mates had. There was always an older brother. There's always old mate. Down the road at the. You'd see him at the pub, and he'd come out and he'd go to the bottler.
Yeah. So you'd pitch your money together, and you'd work a way of getting on.
Yeah. There was always someone. There was always someone. And a country town as well. It's like there's always And I remember I was 18 and I said, I'm 18 today. And they said, well, so what? You've been drinking here for 3 years.
Yeah. And it was that like country town mentality in the early 80s.
They knew, everyone knew. And they just, we'd sit down the corner, we'd drink down there. It's like the police had come in.
Yes.
And they'd sort of, as they were going, they were on one side of the room, we'd be the other. As they moved around, we just kept that same distance. And,
and that worked for everybody.
That worked for everyone.
Yeah.
Occasionally someone would sort of get, check their ID, and they didn't do anything. They just kicked them out, and they'd sort of come back around and come back in again.
Go back in the other door sort of thing. Yeah. And what about the consequences at home?
Alcohol seemed to be all right.
Yeah.
So, and because I went really quickly from alcohol to pot to speed to needles to heroin. So it was really within 12 months I was using heroin.
Okay.
So really quickly.
Yeah.
So
in Griffiths?
In Griffith.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I was still playing, like I was playing golf. Like my man was a golfer and used to take us out to the golf course before all this. So I was playing golf. So I was getting involved playing golf. I met some mates out there and I loved it. I loved playing golf. So, and we'd drink out there. So we found a way that you could actually get through the women's locker room and you get up into the clubhouse and we'd steal grog out of the clubhouse.
The crafty ways you find
a way.
Yeah.
Yeah. And so I was sort of doing that, and I went to Wagga to be a professional golfer.
Okay.
So straight after I left school.
Yep.
So, and I was still drinking. Like I turned up at my first day for that traineeship, still drunk from the night before.
Yes.
And I think I started at 11 o'clock.
Yep.
So basically I stayed out till 4 or 5 in the morning drinking, and then I've gone turned up at this first day in what I wanted, I thought I wanted. I think part of me wanted that as a career.
Yes.
But I think the addiction and the alcoholism was so strong in me that that became
the most
important thing. So I got the sack. I ended up, going to Sydney. I was, started using heroin in King's Cross when I was up in there, come back to Griffith, went to Melbourne, so I was sort of pretty much from then on, I was basically, I worked for Telecom for a while in Griffith, which was, perfect. There's 35 guys worked in the yard. 33 were either, using drugs or using alcohol or other drugs. So it was almost like the perfect workplace.
Yeah.
Alcohol was, half the time you'd spend at work, you'd be parked behind a winery. You'd be, drinking all day.
Yeah.
And they were all big drinkers.
Yeah.
So,
you'd always cover for yourself.
And then
your own trucks.
And we're selling pot out of the Telecom vehicles.
Yeah.
And we're using heroin at work, and there was this other guy, and it was just, it
crazy.
It was a mess. Yeah.
Crazy.
And then we got pinched. I got the sack.
Yeah.
So it was, and then, it was police. It was always, I was either pretty much from 16 to 22.
Mm-hmm.
I was either homeless, I was either in prison, I was either in rehab, or I was, in a blackout.
Yeah.
So that was basically that whole pretty much 6-year period.
What led to your incarcerations?
Just stealing possession of pot.
Yeah.
Breach of they called it breach of the Health Act, because you couldn't carry utensils and stuff back then.
Okay.
And, so having a syringe was an offence.
Yeah, okay. Yep.
So having, a bit of pot was an offence.
Yeah.
Having like track marks or having needle marks on your arms was you get locked up for that.
Yeah, okay.
You do
just anything to keep you off the street and chuck you in. Yeah.
Like I did 6 months in Bogger Road because Wayne told Dave told Bill that I sold him some drugs at a pub, and so I go to court, and we used to just go to court and plead guilty.
Yeah.
You get a fine, piss off, don't worry about it, and he said we're going to send you to jail for 6 months, and I that was like a bit of a reality that I didn't expect, because I thought, well, I not have many people that have addictions that experience think it won't happen to me.
Yeah.
And I didn't think that had happened to me.
No.
I didn't think that I'd experience consequences.
Yeah.
And then when you do, like adult consequences, these are serious things. And when it happened, I was like, this can't be right.
Yeah.
And I remember turning around going, is this right?
Did you have a sense of injustice or just disbelief?
just disbelief.
Yeah.
And because I didn't see myself as who I was.
Yes.
I saw myself
which is what?
Well, just like a street drug addict.
Yeah.
I didn't see myself as that. You know, I thought I was, I don't know, I just thought I was who I was, and I was just
a criminal?
Not a criminal, but just, I don't know, maybe just
but in the eyes of the law, they've
in the eyes of the law, a criminal, 100%.
Yeah.
But I didn't see myself as a criminal. I didn't even see myself as a bad person or anything.
Yeah.
I didn't see myself as someone that needed punishment.
Yes.
You know, I think I probably experienced myself that someone that just needed care and love and understanding.
Yeah.
That's probably because I think I felt so lost and so lonely. I didn't feel like I break into a lot of houses, you know, and it's interesting that it's funny how you justify what you do for yourself. And I thought, well, I never broke a latch. I never broke a window. I always went into an open house.
Yeah.
The window was either open or the door was either open.
Yeah.
And I only ever stole cash.
Yeah.
And I used to think, well, you know, I'm not that bad.
Yes.
You know? And the reason, and when I tell the truth, I go, why'd you only steal cash? Well, so I couldn't be bothered carrying things.
Yeah.
It wasn't because I was some righteous individual. See the TVs back in those days?
Yeah, not easy.
No. So I thought in the videos and all that stuff, and some of the stuff, and the two, and I remember, you know, going with the guy, he stole this stereo, and, you know, it was like $1,000 Marantz sort of stereo, and it was stinking hot, and the pawn shop guy goes, I'll give you $50 for it, and he's arguing with him, and, you know, he's getting, you know, you're hanging out, you always get a bit neurotic, and this guy's arguing with the bloke, and he says, well, you can take it to the other pawn shop 4 kilometres down the road.
Yeah.
And it's like, so I just, you know, just the hassle, and they knew, like the pawn shop knew where it was stolen,
exactly,
we knew we were trying to get on, and you know, so I thought, well, I'm just not going to go through that drama and that hassle, and, doing stuff, and I was too. I think my habits were like I'd have a 2 gram a day habit, but I'd do it in 50s.
Yeah.
You know? So I'd go in and I'd steal $30 and $50 and $80 and stuff out of houses. And then I'd go off and have a shot, and then I'd sort of be off, and I'd go find somewhere else, or, you know, a bag in a shopping centre, and, you know, things like that. So I was always just grabbing bits of cash here and there, or I'd be robbing Peter to pay Paul, or I'd be hooking up with someone, and then I'd go and do the bizzo, so, you know, I could get a hit. And so it was just constant. It was all like that.
Living by the hour to use.
Yeah. And I hated it. I hated it.
Really?
I didn't enjoy it. I didn't enjoy any part of it whatsoever. You know?
Was
it
at all?
Stoned after a while. I didn't enjoy it.
Was it a reprieve at all, going to prison?
In one sense, it was. Once I sort of got over the initial fear, because I was so frightened of prison, you know. And I think one of my greatest fears about using heroin was of ending up in prison, because I didn't know anyone that used heroin that didn't end up in jail.
Yeah.
So for me, when I started using heroin, I remember really vividly thinking, shit, I'm going to go to jail.
Yeah.
And I don't want to go to jail. I don't want to do that.
Yes.
And eventually it started to happen. So, I remember the first time I went, I was terrified. I was 20 years old. I went to Bogger Road. Yeah. It was a heavy jail, a reputation of a proper jail. And after a few days, I thought, this is all right.
Yeah.
Everyone's just sitting around in the sun and chatting away and talking. There was a few incidents here and there, but, you know, mostly. And what I realised, and I didn't know this at the time, I was pretty naive about a lot of stuff that went on. You know, I remember a guy that went out, and there's, that saying, you leave prison like Arnold and come back like Gilligan. You know? I saw an experience of that. You know? Whereas I saw a guy and he was getting out, I was probably there a week or 2 weeks, and he was like working out all the time in the gym. And then he came back after I'd been there probably about 4 months, and he was, you know, he just looked terrible. He was really gaunt and he was really skinny. And I like all these little things, started to think, wow, like this is serious business, you know, because these guys look great in prison. They were healthy, they were fit, you know, they were
because they were off the gear,
exercising, training, they had
3 square meals,
confined environment, and I think I worked. We'll get to this too later, but I worked in prison, so I was later on. So I remember the thing that there was a structure and a consistency, and it was almost like everything I didn't have inside was created outside.
Yes.
So the discipline, the regularity, the consistency, the the boundaries. It was
Yeah.
all really, really clear and well defined.
Yeah.
And I started to feel okay.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
But then you get out. The day I got out,
Mm.
I went straight to, you go straight to the Social Security.
Yep.
Then you go straight across the road to the pub. You
Yeah.
don't go to the pub where the blokes are drinking stout playing for you. You go to where the addicts are playing pool.
Yeah. Yep.
Funny that.
Yeah. Yeah.
Next minute you're getting on. Next minute I'm
picking
at
up.
this house. Next minute I'm at a doctor's surgery getting pills. And next minute I'm back in jail.
Yep. So just a loop back around.
Yeah.
Yep.
Got released Wednesday, back in jail Friday.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
That's incredible.
Yeah.
So when you got out, what changed for you?
Got out the last time or
Yeah.
this time? The last time.
The
I
last
got out
time.
of jail.
Yeah.
Wow. The first 2 times I went to jail, I left angry.
Yep.
The third time I went to jail, I only did a few months. So I started to think this is a consequence of. Then I started to experience that feeling of these are consequences of what I'm doing, because I'd started going to rehab a bit then too.
Yep.
So I had a suicide attempt when I was, and it was a serious one. So I swallowed $800 worth of heroin in paper envelopes. I cut my wrists. I was out. I was gone. I thought, I can't do this anymore. I can't cope. I owed someone $300. It felt like $3 million at the time.
Yeah.
And I thought, I just can't. I can't do it anymore.
Mm.
And I realistically, legitimately tried to take my life.
Yes.
Yeah. And I woke up.
Yeah.
Didn't overdose. Didn't bleed to death.
Yep.
I woke up.
A miracle.
Went to rehab the first time.
Yeah.
Not long after that, probably about maybe 3 or 4 days after that, I was in rehab.
Because you knew something had to change.
Yeah. Well, I basically got sent there.
Yep.
Went to a hospital, went to a doctor. He was on the phone, rang around, and they said, yeah, come in tomorrow.
Yeah.
Oh. So I was in Griffith. The rehab was in Goulburn.
Yes.
It was a heavy duty rehab,
Yeah.
hardcore.
Yeah.
So I'm 20, just close to, just out of jail for the second time, because I went to jail again in that after rehab.
Yep.
So I did jail in rehab as well. So they come and got me, and I did a bit of time while I was in the rehab.
Yep.
So and then I went back to the rehab. That was the last time. But the times bouncing in and out, I was either like basically in rehab, and by then I was sort of wasn't using heroin much anymore. I would, but if I could sort of get it. But I just started to develop a bit of a conscience. I couldn't do crime anymore.
Yes. And
I started to find doctors and get a script of Serapaks for $2.
Yeah, okay.
5 days, you're out.
Yeah.
So I'd take 50 Serapaks and I'd go into a blackout for.
Yeah.
I come to in courthouses, I come to in lockups, I come to in doctor surgeries.
Wow.
Said, this is the 4th day in a row you've been here. I didn't know I'd been there once.
Wow.
And I said, oh, well, I'll have some Serapaks, please.
What is Serapaks?
It's like Valium. It's like a dirty Valium.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah. It's a bit of it's a dirty drug. It's awful. Yeah. You feel awful. You black out quickly. It's like got a, I don't know how to describe it, but it's just it's a weird.
But it gave you the sense of escapism.
I blacked out.
Yeah.
I had to be in a blackout.
Yeah, that you just had to be.
If I wasn't in a blackout, I just felt terrified.
Yep. Of what?
So, anything. My
Life.
shadow. Yeah. Life. People.
Yep.
Yeah. Waking up. Yeah. I hated waking up.
Yep.
Yeah.
So
I remember I'd be lying there at night and I'd sort of be awake at night and it was dark. And I remember this, as the sun was coming up, I'd start the anxiety and the fear would come up.
Yes.
I think, Jesus, I've got to enter the world.
Wow.
And I just was so frightened, terrified. Yeah.
And then, so how did that lead to rehab and your eventual sobriety?
Yeah. Well, I went to rehab. I had 7 admissions into this rehab.
Yep.
And I ended up I was living with a girl that had been in the rehab that grew up in Griffith as well. So we're using heroin together. She's working in a brothel in Windsor and I'm living in her car in the Kentucky Fried Chicken car park.
Wow.
Yeah,
right.
So
some sort of rock bottom.
Yes. So I'm just, and I remember the morning, I think I had a shot of heroin. I had probably a handful of pills. I was smoking a joint. I had a bottle of God knows what.
Yes.
We used to break into motels. I steal the little bottles and just pour them all into one bottle.
Yeah.
So I just
rocket fuel.
So I just had one of them, and I remember, and I'm not 100% sure whether they were there, but I thought there was about half a dozen or 12 or 14-year-olds sort of in the car park.
Mm-hmm.
And I remember just feeling really, really frightened.
Yeah.
And I thought, they're going to get me.
Yep.
And then the next thought I had was, drugs don't work.
Yeah.
So it was the most out of it being was still being while I was still conscious.
Yep.
And it just hit me. I thought, drugs don't work.
This isn't working.
It's not work. Doesn't matter how much drugs I've got on board. I'm sitting here terrified.
Yep.
And I thought, they don't work. And she came down from work in the morning, and I said, drive me to rehab.
Yeah.
So she started the car. We used all the way there.
Yeah.
Funny story. We got halfway there.
Yeah.
And I used to wash out all my foils and packets, So and I've gone into the bath. I've washed them all out, and I've got them in this little plastic bag. And I've gone into the bathroom. I've turned the tap on just to put a bit of water in, and it's come out too quick. So it's filled the whole plastic bag.
Yeah, yeah.
So I'm sitting in this toilet, and I'm having shot after shot after shot after shot. So I probably had maybe 6 or 8 shots just trying to empty this bag of water just to get every last little bit of drug I could get.
Yeah.
And then we, took a few pills and went to this pub near where the detox was at Lidcombe. I had a beer. I tried to have something to eat, but I couldn't eat. And I had a glass of beer, and then I said, "See you later" to her.
Yeah.
I had no possessions.
Yep.
So I just had the clothes I was wearing. That was it. And I had a wallet. And interestingly enough, I still had my driver's license.
Did you?
All I had was one little wallet.
Yeah.
That I used to, the flap, the bender, I used to put the flap in the top of my shorts.
Yes.
And I had one wallet, one driver's license. That was
that's it.
my worldly possession.
Not a cent to your name.
Not a cent, not another skerrick of clothing, everything.
The shirt on your back.
Shirt on my back. And I'd wash them in a public toilet, wash my undies in a sink in a public toilet.
Yeah.
And then just, put them on wet and, sit outside waiting for them to try and dry. So,
and then you wandered into this rehab.
Into the rehab. You had to walk up these narrow set of stairs. And I remember I got to the top of the stairs, and it was like everything just fell away behind me.
Yeah.
The relief.
Yes.
I was like, it's over.
Yeah.
The war's over.
Yeah.
It's over.
Yeah.
And I thought I'd never, ever, ever have to do any of that ever again.
That's incredible.
And I had no idea what I was stepping into.
Yep.
All I knew was from the first time I went to this rehab that I felt understood, and there was people like me.
Yes.
And I thought that planted its seed really deeply in me. And although I kept bouncing in and out, and it was rehab, there was some great people.
Yeah.
There was some characters. It was full of like the personalities. They were outrageous.
Yeah, yeah.
And they're all like these heroin addicts from King's Cross, and they were just outrageous. There was trans people, and there was gay people, and there was Aboriginal people, and wealthy and poor and young and old, and it was just, and there was 200 people.
200
in the
people
rehab,
in the rehab.
Yeah, and it was just this big old monastery out the back of Goulburn, and it was for me anyway. It was just magical place.
Yes,
it just blew me away. And
after being so isolated and so alone, and then you realise that there's people just as fucked up as you are.
Yeah, more so.
Yeah,
like these guys were. These were hardcore.
Yes.
These are armed robberies, and these were hardcore. These were jumping out of courthouses. These were serious. Serious. Old time gangster, proper.
How do they all behave in a
they got on brilliantly
like that? Yeah,
because I think there was a real culture of if we don't help ourselves, who will?
Yes.
And I think that was the name of the rehab, was We Help Ourselves. So it was like, and it started by a group of people rented a house, and they just thought, well, who's going to help us? So they rented this house, and they started this rehab, and then it just grew and grew and grew and grew, and then it became what it is today. It's been around for over 50 years. Rehab, so they're still going.
Amazing.
Yeah.
And so how long were you there for?
I was there 19 months.
Yep.
Yeah. So
that's amazing. It's a long time.
A long time, yeah. And it was peer groups. So there was a candidate in peer group, level 1, level 2, level 3, and candidate out. So and each level you got more responsibility and you got more freedom. So in a way I was like, CI's level 1s had to have a buddy with them all the time to walk around the property, and we were sort of like the worker bees, we'd sort of do the shit jobs, the kitchens and washing the cars and doing the gardens and cleaning and all that stuff. And then you get to, level 2 and you can walk around on your own.
Yeah.
And the level 2s were like the supervisors of the work detail.
Yeah.
So in each each part of the program had a work detail. Like there was cleaners, there was wood choppers, there was people who looked after the cars, there was people who looked after the kitchen, there was people who looked after the admin. So we did everything. It was like
amazing.
There was probably 4 or 5 staff in the place. Yeah. So we did everything, and so as you went through, you learned. Level
incredible.
3s were like your coordinators, so they looked after the level 2s and their sort of work detail, and then your level 4s were like your directors, who sort of gave direction to the coordinator, who gave direction to the work crews.
That's incredible. So it's a full structure in there.
Yeah, we did all the social security, we did all the shopping, we did all the cooking, we did like all the admin, everything.
How's it funded?
Yeah. It was voluntary, like it was just on social security checks at the time, with a bit of government funding, but not much.
That's incredible.
But at the time, it was like 1985. So I remember the food bill was like $800.
Yep. For
the
everyone.
week. For the week. So it was like,
that's incredible.
Yeah. And then a lot of donations. I went to Canberra. They had a house in Canberra. They had a house in Liverpool. They had the detox in Lidcombe, and they had a house in Redfern. So anyone had a court in Sydney the bus went up to Sydney every day. So the bus would go up, take the people to court, dental appointments, pick up the people from detox, bring them down to the rehab. So that bus went up and back every day from Goulburn to Sydney.
That's incredible.
Yeah. And I remember I went to Canberra, one of the houses, and that was like I was just on the phones all day, just procuring, getting donations and stuff like that.
That's incredible.
Yeah. So
amazing.
We'd get 200 kilos of pork chops. So the whole house rehab would eat pork chops, breakfast, lunch, and dinner.
Yeah. Amazing.
So we get, like half a ton of bananas, and it'd just like be bananas for.
That's incredible. Yeah. And so at the end of 19 months, you decided to move on, or you graduated from there?
Yeah, we graduated. Yeah. So I went to Canberra, went back to Goulburn, then I went up to Lidcombe. I worked in the detox. Like I'm done 9 months clean in this rehab, and I was the house director of the detox centre. So I'm pretty much running the detox centre.
Incredible.
Yeah. So organising everything, the rosters, the intakes, the medication, the doctor's appointments, the whole business.
As a paid role, or
no, just as a
volunteer.
Yeah, as a
active
rehab
service.
Yeah, rehab participant. That was your job function in that rehab at that time.
Yeah.
And then I went to Redfern, which was like the supporting people, taking them to court, taking people to dental appointments, sort of escorting people around the place.
Amazing.
Yeah. And at the end, they said, there was a group of us that said, look, you've been here too long.
Yeah.
It's time to, this rehab, they're not 18 months. It's sort of old hair now. We're not, we've got to get away from this long-term rehab business. So,
well, you probably need to make room for others to step into those roles and grow and develop themselves as well.
And the program then was long-term. It was 18 months to 2 years. That was the average time. So they basically said, look, we got to cut this down to 9 months, the program.
Yes.
So, and then now it's 6 months, but it just, 19 months was a long time.
A long time.
So, and I think I was the only one that stayed clean from my peer group.
Yeah.
Everyone else relapsed, when they left. So, so I was like, basically they said, find yourself somewhere to live, get a job, and, boot off, basically.
And off you go.
Yeah. So we went, all right. So I went and got a job driving trucks for an air freight company.
Yep.
Found myself a place to live with a guy that I was in the rehab with. Started going to work and, I went to meetings every day.
Yeah.
When I wasn't working, I'd do 16 meetings a week.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow.
Because
So it was a 12-step program?
No, the rehab wasn't 12-step, but it was run by, it was a user run, ex-user run, recovering addict run program. So, and they were big on, sending us to meetings, encouraged to go to meetings.
Yep.
So that was part of it. And I think,
so you knew your aftercare.
Yeah. We did sort of bits of step work through the thing, but not a whole lot. It was more about living, just learning how to live. And, we go to groups every day, but they were more just talking groups and interactive. But there was a lot of consequences in the rehab. So there was a lot of I suppose behaviour correction, is how it was back in the day, which was fine. I sort of skated through it because I just didn't care.
Yeah.
They could have done whatever. I thought, whatever, I don't care. I'm staying.
Yeah.
I'm not going nowhere.
Yes.
I'm not going to use.
Yeah.
I'm not going to leave. I'm not going to leave until you say I'm ready to leave. Because every time I left on my own and every time I saw someone leave on their own, they relapsed. So I started to watch what was going on and who was staying clean, who wasn't.
Yeah.
And I thought, well, I remember one day they said there's probably about 3 people here will stay clean.
Yeah.
From this group of people. Now, so you said eventually a lot of you might get clean eventually, but there's only 3 will probably stay clean. And
Yeah.
I remember saying it to myself quietly and really solidly that I'm going to be one of the three.
Yeah. Yep.
So,
and in that sense of community, like if you've got a couple of hundred people, it's a bit Lord of the Flies sort of thing, isn't it? Like I suppose that you develop rules within, and a lot of those rules and structures within community probably base themselves on a moral, like there's a level of moral compass, isn't there?
There was a line, but there's also like benchmarks of behaviour. It's like we want you to step up to this. We want you to have this responsibility. We want you. But what happened was, as you got responsibility, responsibility is not easy, and to handle responsibility, you got to take care of yourself.
Yeah.
And if you don't take care of yourself, you can't meet the responsibilities.
Yes.
So a lot of people were, and that's where we got the help and support, because you'd be, well, why are you struggling? I said, well, I can't do this. Well, no, actually, what's really going on?
Yeah.
Oh, I'm missing my mum.
Yes.
I'm missing my dad. I'm missing this and that. And then you start, you have a cry and you think, oh, I don't know who I am. I don't know what's going on. And then that actually support you through it. And then all of a sudden, a couple of days later, you're actually meeting all your responsibilities.
Yeah. That's incredible.
So that sort of put that in your head to it. Thought, oh, that's what it's about.
Yeah. Yeah. And you went on to work in alcohol and drug recovery?
Yeah. I went to, I grew up in the country, and I was living in Sydney. I was there for a year after I left rehab. Going to lots of meetings, felt pretty intimidated by Sydney, big city.
Yeah.
A lot of people were, and people that were going to meetings back then, it was such a dynamic environment.
Yes.
It was really dynamic, a lot of personalities. And it was big. There was 300 people at meetings. It was huge. It was, I remember NA was in the Rolling Stone magazine as one of the top 40 things to do, actually to get clean and go to meetings. So it was really big. And so I went to Adelaide, and I thought, I'm going to go to Adelaide. First I went to Perth. I thought, I can't live in Sydney, it's too big, I'll go to Perth. So I went to a convention in Perth, and I just felt so isolated there.
Yeah.
And it just happened to be I went to Perth to live, and there just happened to be a convention on, convention on in Perth. And one of the guys from Sydney was driving a car back.
Yeah.
And I said, I'll come back with you. I want to come back to Sydney. I just feel a bit lost here.
Yeah.
And we're getting close to Adelaide. So I want to go to Adelaide for a couple of days. I've never been there.
Yeah.
He said, yeah, no worries. So we got to Adelaide, and I just stayed there for 6 years.
Right.
I said, see ya.
Really?
Yeah, I'm staying.
Yeah. What did you like about Adelaide?
It was just
that mix of big and small.
Yeah, there was 2 meetings every day. There was everyone knew everyone in the fellowship. It just seemed like I met some of the people in Perth that were from Adelaide. At that convention. It just, I don't know. It just felt like the right thing to do at the time, and I just stayed.
But you were following your recovery. Like you went over to Perth. There was a convention.
Yeah.
You followed into Adelaide because there was community in sobriety there.
Yeah, and we just clicked. And it was just, I was talking to a mate the other day from there, and I just said, we're really lucky to be at Adelaide in that fellowship at that time. There's a whole heap of us. We're all around the same clean time. None of us were working. We're all like just, we just enjoyed each other's company. We'd sit around the coffee shops, and, we'd sort of go to both meetings, and everyone was doing all the meetings.
Yes.
So everyone knew everyone.
Yeah.
So it was really cool like that. And, And then I was there for 6 years, and so I was 8 years clean. I was there for 6 years, and then I got a phone call from the boss at the rehab I was in. And he said, we're thinking about starting this rehab in Adelaide. Do you want to help? And I went, why not?
Yeah, you're there.
Yeah, he said, come up to Sydney, spend 3 months here, learning the go, what it's like now. So I went up to Sydney, worked there for 3 months. Adelaide never kicked off.
Okay.
So I ended up staying working there.
Yeah, okay.
So I was worked there for a couple of years, went back to Adelaide again for 6 months. The moment had passed.
Yeah.
Went back to Sydney.
Romance had worn off.
Yeah. And it was different. It was like, I suppose it's that thing, you move on, you keep growing into new things. And I went to work for the rehab again, and then they're starting up a rehab in jail at Long Bay Jail.
Okay, yep.
And I applied, and I won the job.
So you went back to jail.
Yes, but I didn't get there.
Okay.
So I won the job, told I had the job, and
Yeah.
then I got a phone call later saying you haven't got the job because the convener got
no.
one of her mates to come in and take the job.
Oh, no.
But one of the blokes on the panel really liked me, really said, you know, he was blowing up about the woman actually cutting it through the process and giving someone else the job.
Yep.
And he rang me one day about 4 months later. He said, look, there's a job at Parramatta Jail. Do you want it?
Yes.
And I went, why not?
Why not?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So off I went to Parramatta Jail.
Yeah.
I walked in as the alcohol, the drug worker at Parramatta Jail. They said, there's your office.
Yes.
I turned around and they were gone.
Yeah, okay.
So I was like, shit.
Right. What do I do here?
What do I do? So I thought, well, I'll just call people up and try and help them out.
Yep. As in inmates?
Yeah, inmates.
Yeah.
In the prison. So,
yep.
Yeah. So, and then I went from there to Long Bay, and I worked in Long Bay Jail for about 15, 16 years.
Wow.
Yeah.
You must have seen a lot of things in there.
Yeah. The best place was Narranura, a program called Narranura.
Yep.
It was a 6-month pre-release program.
Okay.
People from all over the state would come there and do the last 6 months of their sentence there.
Yep.
And we do probably 12 group sessions a week. We take them out to meetings, take people out to outings.
Yeah, okay.
2 of us would co-facilitate a group of about 12 inmates.
Yeah.
So we had that 12 inmates for 6 months.
Wow. Yeah.
And in that time, they'd come for parole, or they'd come for curiosity, or they'd come because they wanted help. But at some stage through the process, they had to make a decision to stay for themselves.
Yeah.
And people left that program as themselves, not as products of the system.
Yeah. Yeah, yeah.
And it was just it was the best place to work. It was one of the best, it's probably one of the best performing programs in the whole correction system in the country.
Yep.
And
highly rewarding.
Very rewarding.
Yeah.
Very, very. There's still guys today that, might give me a buzz and they're 20 years clean saying, I'm doing great.
And so
pictures
they
of my kids, this is Izzo and
they've been like that form of rehabilitation, which I've spoken to others before that have said incarceration is not rehabilitation, in many circumstances. But
it's not, ideally it's not.
No.
But if it's the environment has to support the program. There's no point doing a 2-hour program then going back into a main jail.
Yeah.
Where you got to put up all your walls and do. So what our job was, we created the place where they could drop all that.
Yeah.
So just be themselves.
Yep.
Because they weren't going to go back into the main jail. They were actually leaving prison from there.
Yeah.
So it was a whole totally separate unit from the rest of the prison. So
and isn't that interesting, like what you said, when you had time in prison, that, you left and then you ended up in the junkie pub down the road, and now you're working to send, prisoners out into community with the tools that they need and require to stay clean and be out and a productive member of the community.
Yeah. And it's interesting that it's almost like, I reckon probably close to 100%, but you can never say 100%. So 99.99% of people that got released that went back home generally ended up back in prison. Yeah. The people that went on to further treatment, went on to further support, went on to further help, after 2 years, 75% were still drug-free.
That's incredible.
So it's interesting how, and it makes sense, and my recovery is about that too. It's like when I stepped into my own responsibility and when I stepped away and put myself in that position where you got to sink or swim rather than just go back to what I knew.
Yep.
Everyone, you go back to what you know, you'll end up doing what you know.
Yeah, people, places, things.
100%.
Yeah.
Yeah, but to step into the unknown, which is a terrifying but ultimately rewarding experience, you got to step into that. Because when I walked into that rehab, all I knew was I'm not going back.
Yeah.
What's ahead of me? I have no idea.
Yes.
And I was shitting myself.
Yeah.
But I was like, I don't care.
Yeah.
And what's ahead of me has to be better. It just has to be better than what I've come from.
Yeah. And you've said it there a few times, like someone asks or presents an opportunity to you and you say, yep. I'll follow that, or yep, I'll follow that.
I'll give it a go.
Give it a go.
Yeah.
What's the worst that can happen?
I'd go to workshops. I'd go to things. Someone said, I'm going to see this weekend workshop at some thing about meditation.
Why not?
I'll go and do that.
You mentioned before you had an upbringing in and surrounded by the Catholic Church. What's your sense of higher power now?
Surrender.
Yeah.
Surrender is a power greater than me. So I know if I'm in a fight or in a battle with myself or even with someone else, like if I'm sitting here having an argument with you,
yes,
we're going to just keep trying to, win.
Yeah.
And I'm just thinking it's not about giving up. I'm not going to give up and say, oh, you win. I've got to go, hang on a minute. What's going on here?
Yeah.
Like, what's the truth in this situation? And I'm thinking, well, we're arguing about something. What are we arguing about?
Yeah.
Where are we going to put the TV? It's like, well, you're not the problem.
Yes.
Where the TV's going to go is the problem.
Yeah, yeah.
So it's almost like the whole time in my recovery, every single time ended up in a place where I felt stuck. It's always been, what do I do now? And it's like, I don't have to get unstuck. I don't have to fight my way through what I'm stuck at. I don't have to actually beat down the wall with a sledgehammer or sort of fight my way out of a situation. I just got to go, just stop.
Yeah.
And as soon as I give in and as soon as I accept, all of a sudden I start thinking clearer. I start being able to act differently. I make better decisions. So for me, surrender just, and I think that's in a way, for me, that's a power greater than me. That's my higher power.
Yes.
Yeah. So I'm not a religious, definitely not a religious person.
No.
And I don't think, it's like, you hit a car park and the old thing is, let's quick pray for a good, pray that we get a car park.
Yeah.
And my higher power is, well, what's the situation is here that it's a pretty busy looking car park.
Yeah.
And the best way to find a park is probably just to cruise around patiently.
Yeah.
And then someone will pop out.
Yeah.
I don't think, something will give me a car park. I just think that and if there's not a car park, well, I'll find somewhere to park.
It's closely related to patience as well.
Yes.
Or, sometimes I refer to it as space.
Yes.
If I put space between my head and said decision, then usually that space will create the next right decision for
100%.
me,
Yes, 100%. And I'm not in this. I'm not trying to force it. I'm not trying to control it. I'm not going into battle against it.
Yeah.
I'm like, I understand that I don't have control over it.
Yeah, I'm pretty fucking powerless.
Yeah, yeah. I don't come to a door and go, right, how am I going to headbutt my way through this door? I sort of give in and go, well, okay, there's a handle there.
Yeah.
I'll just use the handle.
Yeah. I have been known to see like where it says pull and just try and run my way through and hope that it's one of those like two-way doors.
I love that little cartoon of School for the Gifted where the guy's pushing up against the pull door.
It's a great cartoon. Yeah. And sometimes it opens or sometimes you make a goose of yourself and break your nose,
And I think about even like my analogy for the first 3 steps is just like a flat tire. I'm powerless over the flat tire.
Yeah.
I didn't cause it. I can't, I had nothing to do with it actually going flat.
Yeah.
Just the tire's flat.
Yeah.
So I surrender to that truth.
Yes.
The tire's flat. And then I go, okay, where's that power greater than me is actually that acceptance. And okay. And then I go, which gives that space like you talked about. The space is okay. Where's the help? Yeah. There's a jack in the boot. There's a wheel brace in the boot.
Yep.
Not having that process, the tire's flat, I'm angry, I'm kicking the car, I'm getting the shits, I'm blaming this, that and the other, and why shouldn't have bloody people driving around with nails in this city, and nothing's fair, and I'm going to be late for work, and this is everything's happening to me, and I just become a whole victim of the whole situation.
Woe is me, I'm a victim.
Yeah. All of a sudden then the capacity to be responsible, that's freedom, and to me that's freedom. That's what freedom is.
Yeah. It's a touchy subject because I had a flat tire yesterday, and it's one of those ones I can pump it up enough to get from A to B.
Yeah.
So, and I was frustrated by it, and I pulled over. I did the tire up, and I went, I can get on with my journey.
Yeah.
And then I looked at my windscreen and I had a crack in my windscreen, I was thinking, that's going to cost a lot of money. It's going to be really inconvenient, but I can't do anything about what has happened.
No.
I get through today and I deal with it tomorrow.
Yeah.
You know?
Losing your shit for 5 minutes or 10 minutes or half an hour, and then you walk around, the window's still cracked.
Yeah.
Doesn't matter how angry you get, how depressed you get, how stressed you get, how upset, who you blame.
Yep.
The window's still cracked.
Yeah.
And it doesn't get fixed because you're too busy blaming everyone for the problem.
Yeah.
You know?
And the reality is, like, I'm fortunate that my work will pay for it.
Yeah.
You know, like there's another car here if I need to use it. Yeah. If I have to work from home, if I have to work from home, I get to see more of my family. You know, like that's the silver lining of the situation. And
I think that's the thing. Surrender creates options.
Mm.
You know, when I'm in a fight, I'm just, you know, my head's, I'm stuck in the corner and I've got nowhere to go.
Yes.
But if I give in, all of a sudden I turn around and I have options.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then I can choose.
I asked you what the most rewarding thing about recovery is.
Yeah.
Do you recall what your answer?
Yeah. Opportunities.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The opportunities in life?
Everywhere.
Yeah.
You know, when I've got one option is the next drug. That's it. You know, I don't have a career, I don't have a job, I don't have friends, I don't have family, I don't have to, you know, I don't have a place, I don't have I don't have any connection, I don't have any way out, you know, I have the next drug.
Yeah.
That's it. You know, and in recovery, the greatest gift, I think, for me in recovery is opportunity.
Yes.
You know, an opportunity to grow, an opportunity to meet people, an opportunity to learn about myself, an opportunity to deal with the trauma that I experienced as a kid.
Yeah.
You know, I do a lot of therapy. I'm a big fan of going to therapy, psychotherapy.
Yep.
And being reparented.
Yeah.
Through that experience. So I'm able to sit there, go through that experience of my childhood, have the tears, have the anger, have the lost kid, have all that stuff, and have that therapist parent me through that like my parents could have but were unable to do.
Yes.
And it's not saying, you know, bad parents and blah, blah, blah. So they did the best they could, but I've always got to add on, but it wasn't good enough for me.
Yes.
They didn't have enough to meet my needs.
Yeah.
You know, so they did the best they could, but it wasn't good enough.
Yeah.
So I had to then go, well, okay, I need to take responsibility and go and find parents, in a way, that are enough and do have enough and do have the capacity to be able to say to that kid that was beaten by that monk and that was sort of pissing his pants, you know, hiding because he heard him coming around the corner.
Yep.
To be able to be there with me through that experience. Yeah, it's all right, mate.
Yeah.
You know, and be able to look at everything that plays in my life now that is a result of that.
Yes.
To say to me, of course you're going to do that. Look what happened here. And I go, and then I can get to make sense of things. And then I get to, you know, I cry. I've cried a lot.
Yeah.
You know, I've heard a lot. I've been bloody really, really frightened through the therapeutic experience. I've been really disrupted.
Yeah.
Through the therapeutic experience. I've been really destabilised. But what's destabilised is my survival mechanisms.
Yeah.
Everything I've used to survive has become destabilised.
Yes.
So I'm thinking I'm losing it, but what's happening is I'm actually finding it.
Yeah.
What I'm finding is I'm finding myself because I've actually entered into a relationship with someone that actually does love, does care, is available, can actually effectively take me through that process.
Yep.
And then I actually come into the other side of being actually who I am.
Yeah.
Which is, I don't want to survive life.
Yeah.
I don't want to constantly be that kid protecting himself from the unsafety that's in the world. You know, it's just that nearly killed me.
Yes.
Trying to do that.
Yep.
You know, and I nearly killed myself trying to do that.
And you're finding a way now.
Yeah.
40 years later.
40 years later.
50 years later.
Yeah.
Through the other end of that.
Yes. Yeah. And it's incredible. It's amazing.
Yeah.
You know? Yeah.
You said when you were younger, you felt like you were cut away from love.
I cut myself off.
You cut yourself off from love?
Yeah, it was too scary.
Yeah.
Yeah, it wasn't safe to be vulnerable. So I had to actually create something to basically I had to create a space or create a block between me and people.
Yep.
So they couldn't hurt me because I didn't have the capacity to assimilate information. If someone said you're no good,
Yes.
I didn't go, he's a dickhead and I'm actually quite all right. I'd go, fuck, I'm no good.
Yeah.
And every time I got punished for acting out, that reinforced that message. So I had to build this wall that said, I'm not coming out and you're not getting in.
Yes.
That was the deal.
Yep.
So when you're 50 and you're not coming out and you're not letting anyone in, that's not a good way to be.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And do you let love in now?
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm in a great relationship.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm loved.
Yeah.
I love.
Yay.
Yeah.
That's so good.
Yeah. And I'm vulnerable.
Yes.
Yeah. And I think that I thought vulnerability was I thought it was unsafe and it was weak and all that. But it's now I know that's where I'm in my strongest part.
Yeah.
When I'm in my, tough guy, wake up to yourself, don't be a dickhead, harden up, toughen up, all that sort of stuff. That's when I'm the most vulnerable to getting hurt.
Yes.
And the most vulnerable to actually falling off the cliff and the most vulnerable to actually ending up in strife again.
I find that if you leave the door of vulnerability ajar, it's amazing what comes in.
Yes.
And I've found that time and time again in recovery that, like I'll open my mouth and put myself in a vulnerable position and then it's filled with empathy and compassion and love.
Yeah.
And creates much more meaningful connection with people as well.
Yeah, there's warmth in that. And it's an empowering experience. If you're constantly pushing people away or hiding or trying to protect yourself, it's incredibly disempowering. And I ended up really lonely.
Yeah.
As a consequence. Yeah. So to be able to do that and to be able to, and I think my whole life, when I went to therapy this time, I went to therapist, says, what do you want from therapy? I said, I want to be the me who is me.
Yeah. Yeah.
And we often refer to that now even, and my whole life, everything I went through, when I was having a hard time, when I was using, even before I was using, when I was in all those situations, I always kept thinking there's got to be something better than this.
Yes.
And it wasn't a new car, it wasn't a house, it wasn't a new pair of shoes, it wasn't a job, it wasn't any of those things. So I had all those things.
Yeah,
I was still bloody miserable.
Yeah, yeah.
And I'm thinking there's got to be something better than this. And what I've realised, the better is just working through, the pain.
Yep.
And go into those places where I think, well, you don't go there, because it's like I'm a tough guy and you don't go to therapy. You know? All that. And when I went to therapy early days, when I was in NA, it was very pooed. Like it was like NA's the only way, and this is all you do. And it's I think it's a lot more acceptable now. And I think for me, just the steps and the program and the stuff by itself is, for some people, brilliant. Great lives, no drama. For me, I had to go through a therapeutic process. I had to go through a healing process that was, be able to go into some lot deeper, darker places.
Yeah. I think that I've noticed through these discussions, even more so than just within the rooms, that there is deep-seated trauma in the majority of addicts' stories.
Yeah.
I've found for me the 12-step program gives me a spiritual pathway, but I also acknowledge and consider deeply that therapy is required for traumas and that the 12 steps is more of a spiritual concept and a day-to-day way of living. That's right.
The 12 steps, they're a way of life. They're principles for life.
Yep.
You give in, you have faith, you become willing to do, you look at yourself, you take responsibility.
Yep.
You help other people out, you have some stillness, you
give back,
you look at your own stuff.
Yep.
It's I remember showing a guy actually I went to school with, and And he said, that's the steps. And he looked through them, he goes, I do that.
Yeah.
And I, what do you mean? He said, well, I just do that. I sort of, I acknowledge that I can't control things. And he went through the thing and I went, oh yeah, that's just a functional, practical way to live. And that's all it is.
Yeah.
That's all it is. It's not, it's not scary. It's not, it's not this like, it's just,
I think a lot of people could benefit from it. Like but people have growth in many areas. Some need a life coach, some need a sports coach, some need a philosophy degree or whatever it might be that they can learn from in their day-to-day life. As addicts, I think one of the parts of it is a sense of community as well. 100%.
And I think that's the thing that really got me, because I went, the first day I went into rehab, I knew as soon as when I met those people, and when I experienced what I experienced in relationship with those people, that, I'm not, it's like what's the song? There's a guy, Blind Melon, sings that song, the girl in the little bumblebee suit, and she's walking around in a bumblebee suit all by herself, and then she comes across this paddock and there's all these other kids in bumblebee suits, and she jumps in and she lights up and she starts dancing around, and it's a bit like that, it's like this is home.
I will have to look that up. Blind Melon.
Blind Melon. Yeah.
There you go.
Yeah. And ironically, the singer died of a heroin overdose.
Oh, really?
So, yeah. Which is pretty tragic.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
Now, you said you played a bit of golf when you were young.
Yeah, I played golf when I was at school and when I had some good mates there.
And you almost went
pro. I wanted to be a professional.
Where are you at now with your golf 40 years later?
Just starting to become a professional again.
Yeah?
So,
40 years on.
45 years.
That's incredible.
I started a traineeship in 1980.
Yes.
And here I am it'll still be 2025.
Yeah.
And so I'm going through the, induction process and everything at the moment. And then from the 1st of January, I'll be a associate, professional golfer. So
it's incredible. Never give up on your hope and dreams.
Never give up. Yeah. And it's something that it's interesting. I think when I said that, I want to be the me who is me.
Yeah.
And I think it was the one thing, and it's just, I just love the game. Yeah. I love the game. I love the challenge of the game. It's something that I want to engage in to get better at. And I think when we were talking earlier, I said, I could swim a kilometre, but I've got no interest in wanting to swim 2 kilometres.
Yes.
That would just annoy me and I'd hate it. And the challenge of trying to go from 1 kilometre to 2 kilometre I'd just have no interest in it whatsoever.
Yeah.
But to improve my game by 2 shots or 3 shots around whatever, that just excites me and it just brings me to life. And, and I'm willing to put the work in. And seriously, someone said to me once, this, you're bloody addicted to golf. And I said, most things I became addicted to, I failed at. And I said, a byproduct of addiction is failure. And I said, a byproduct of passion is success. And I said, if you can touch what you're passionate about, you'll succeed in a real genuine way. So, I'm not playing golf to avoid life. I'm not playing golf to please anybody. I'm playing golf because that's just who I am. And there's something in me that connects really deeply with that, whatever that is in that game that, so,
It feel like it's a very spiritual game.
You got to be present. You can't, I'm coming down, got 2 or 3 holes to go and I start thinking about the last hole and I mess up. I'll all of a sudden your game just goes south. You've got to stay present.
Yeah. The yips.
Yeah. It's 90% up in your head. So as far as, mentally, psychologically, spiritually even, to me, spirituality just means being here now.
Yep.
It's just, that's all it is,
And you're out amongst nature.
Yeah. And you meet some great people.
Yeah.
There's some, great competition. It's funny, I don't like social golf. I hate social golf, but I love competitive golf. Like I love playing for something.
Yeah. I've loved today's conversation, Andrew. Thank you so much. And I'll see you out on the golf course soon. I wish you all the best.
Come out and have a hit. Thanks very much.
I'll try my best. All the best.
Shane.
Thanks, Andrew. Cheers, mate. Thanks for joining us today on Slaying Sober. If you're sober curious, in addiction, or know someone who could benefit from listening, please share this episode with them. Jump over to Instagram and say g'day at SlayingSoberPod and follow us on Spotify to hear the latest episodes come out. Until then, keep slaying sober.